let's go back a bit to our introduction. You are saying the first time you saw accused number 2 was on the 18th when you met him at Western Mariana, so?
At Carltonville, my lord.
At Carltonville, yes.
Yes, that's what I said, my lord.
And where were you driving from when you met him at Carltonville?
From Gauteng, my lord. I just don't recall when we left to check, but it was from Gauteng, my lord.
Then what necessitated you to drive to Carltonville to go meet accused number 2?
Well, my lord, I didn't go with accused number 2. I found him there.
No, I'm saying, what necessitated you to drive to Carltonville to go and meet accused number 2?
All right, my apologies, I misunderstood.
Yes.
No, so it was the communication, my lord, that I received from Sergeant Mohan, as I said earlier, that they told me they were there, and following other investigation, and part of, as I'm saying, my lord, that they asked him about this matter. So I wanted to deal with it directly, as I was the lead investigating officer, my lord.
So for them to have said to you, we're in Carltonville, we're with accused number 2, amongst others who are investigating this case, and then they took a decision to say, I am joining you there at Carltonville. Or is there, okay, you can answer?
Yes, not joining them in the investigation, my lord. I think I've explained that there were cases that they were following unrelated to this matter. My interest, insofar as going there, it was in relation to accused number 2, so that I can conduct an interview with him in relation to this matter. That was my only reason that I went there, my lord.
Why couldn't you wait? If the reason that you gave now is what prompted you to drive to Carlton, I mean to Carltonville. Why could you say to them, okay, no, it's fine. When you're done there, can you please bring him to my office?
No, but why, my lord? What would be the reason of waiting? I was available, and I made a decision. Well, there was nothing that was prohibiting me from going there. I was available, and I felt I want to deal with it, because from the time he was arrested, one will have to take note, my lord, that I was informed that he was arrested on the 16th. It was already the 18th. I've not seen him, and I knew that he was a person of interest based on the statement that was already obtained in the docket, my lord.
Now, the date today, when I mean today, I mean the date on which you had an interview with accused number 2 at Carltonville, is the 18th of June, 2020, not so?
Correct, my lord.
And when did accused number 2 again made the confession to, is it Rapado?
Yes, he made it on the 19th of June, 2020.
And when did he make the confession to Mrs. Cronje?
It was the 24th of June, 2020.
Thank you. Now, it is common cause, or it is not in dispute, let me not say it's common cause, it is not in dispute that after his arrest on the 16th of June at Phuket, he was taken into custody. So.
Yes, my lord, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
So all these activities, which happened subsequent to the 16th of June, up until the 24th of June 2020, when he appeared before Mrs. Cronje, the magistrate, for his confession, he had been always from custody, not so?
Yes, he was still under detention, my lord.
Yes. Now, when did he appear at court for the first time in this case?
So on this case, he appeared on the 27th of October 2020, my lord.
The brigadier didn't see this coming. He was still focused on his warning statement. And now Mnisi asked him his favorite question. So you met Bongani Ntanzi on the 18th? Yes, yes, yes. He was arrested on the 16th. That's correct. And he did his first confession with Rapadu on what day? On the 19th, my lord. You know, he's so confident he doesn't see where they're going. Oh my goodness. And then Mnisi says, and Cronje, what day was it? It was the 24th. And then Mnisi pushes him into the deep end. And before throwing him any assistance, so he doesn't drown, while the brigadier is inside the deep end and is about to see what is happening, Mnisi says, when did Bongani Ntanzi appear in court for this matter? When did he appear in court for this matter for the first time? I think it was at this moment that the brigadier said, oh my God, what is going on here? Now, let's go to Section 35 of the Constitution of 1966. And it reads that the arrested, detained, and accused person have the right to be charged within 48 hours. For this matter, okay? We know the brigadier is going to come up with this and that happened, and then the snow came, and then it was COVID, and then there were no masks, so we couldn't go to court. We know the brigadier is going to just go on some long winding statement, but the Constitution is clear. Okay? It is very clear. Notice of rights in terms of the Constitution, which describes these and other rights of arrested person. Everyone who is arrested for allegedly committing an offense has the right to remain silent, to be informed promptly of the right to remain silent and of the consequences of not remaining silent, and as well, every accused person has a right to a fair trial, which includes the right to and the right to a fair trial, as well as appearing before the magistrate for their charges within 48 hours of arrest. So let's start counting. Funda ataga funda tempi funda. So we start with Bongani Ntanzi was arrested in June. So July, August, September, October, October. 4 months later. 4 months later. Somebody convert that for me for days into hours. Instead of 48 hours, which is about 2-day period, 4 months later, only then is Bongani Ntanzi in this prosecutorial-led investigation. 4 months later, while being incarcerated, meaning he didn't even have a chance within those 4 months to apply for bail, guys. I just want to pause so you take that in. 4 months before he is charged for this case. I'm not talking about the Nongoma. I'm not talking about all these other dangerous crimes that he committed, because each and every single one of them, the Constitution is clear. They must appear within 48 hours for all of them, individually, not collectively, individually. 4 months later is when Bongani Ntanzi finally goes to court, and coincidentally, you know what date that is? I know that date very well. That's another date I know well. They all 5 accused appeared for the first time on the 26th of October, 2020. Coincidence or coincidence? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, but let's continue listening on.
Now from 22 June 2020, the date on which he appeared before the magistrate for the confession, for the alleged confession, to 27 October 2020. So let me put it this way. Why did he not, or why was he not made to appear at court immediately after a confession was taken from Mrs. Kronje on the 24th of June 2020?
So, yeah, I'll have to explain my lot. So, yes. Firstly, the first court appearance, even though it's unrelated to this matter, took place on the 22nd.
I'm sorry. Brigadier, let me qualify in respect of this matter.
Yes. Okay, now I get it. Now, in respect to this matter, my lord, one will remember that I've indicated that on the 23rd of June, there was an interaction where there was an attorney. Subsequent to this meeting and the discussion with the prosecution, arrangements gave rise to the confession that took place based on the discussion on the 24th. The investigation and the collaboration was not done, my lord. The fact that the confession was taken, it was not a done deal that the investigation was done. I was at that stage, my lord, as I said, the first time when I laid eyes on this confession of accused number 2, on the narrow-it's the one that I received from Colonel Rapado and subsequently the one of Mrs. Kronje. It was the first time where I had sights of accused 3, 4, and 5 in terms of the names as being alleged, where they were alleging that they were part of this. So insofar as the investigations were concerned, they were not complete. They were far from over. We didn't have the murder weapon. We didn't have all number of things and the statements that the defense is aware that we disclosed to them. So even though there were these 2 confessions, there were collaboration that needed to be done. You can't just take them on the face value. You need to collaborate and see that what this person is saying is actually the truth or not. And that applied not only in accused number 2. It was the same exercise that I embarked on when we dealt with the confession of accused one. That is why one was able to see that when he was
so the brigadier.
So I'm just making
no. I'm asking about accused number 2.
Yes, but my lord, I'm taking.
Let us confine ourselves to accused number 2. I'm not taking accused number 1 as yet. I'll come to accused number 1 if necessary. But let us confine ourselves to accused number 2.
Yes, my lord, but I hear you. I'm trying to confine myself. But what I'm saying, my lord, remember when I explained, they say it mustn't be seen as if accused 2 got a specific treatment that was different than the others. That the picture I want to say that when we go to number 2, there is nothing different.
If I want that explanation,
Mr. Mnisi,
I will ask you.
Mr. Mnisi, please.
But this witness was not.
No, but don't stop the witness from testifying.
Based on rules.
No, the rules are as he says. It mustn't be seen that he gave special preference to accused number 2. There are 5 accused before him, so he had to make. I don't even want to give that evidence to make a decision concerning all the persons, according to him.
But my question is specifically confined to accused number 2. If I want to know about accused number 1, I'm specifically asking.
But all 5 of them appeared one time.
But maybe the court does not understand the gist of my question. I am saying of my concern. I'm now busy with accused number 2. Whether or not he gave a different treatment to whether he did not give that which is explaining now. For purposes of my question, it is material. I want answers in relation to accused number 2.
My lord, I'm answering. But what Advocate Mnisi needs to take note, I cannot, because then it will become unfair in terms of what I must tell this court, because it seems my answers must be confined to fit the narrative that he wants to bring forward to this court. I'm answering this question that is asking me. I'm simply indicating that it was not an isolated situation. It's what I've done with accused number 1. But insofar as the question that he asked me with accused 2, I've answered it. But I'm showing objectivity when I'm mentioning the other accused to say it was not the first time. Because I'm saying this, my lord, because the impression I'm getting is as if the impression that I'm getting is being created. It's as if there was a special arrangement with accused number 2. That's all that I was getting to, my lord. My lord, with regard to accused number 2, to this question that Advocate Mnisi is asking, I was not investigating accused 2 in isolation of the other accused. I think will assist, because it wasn't like I was sitting and saying, now I'm focusing on accused 2 only. Collectively, as the evidence was coming your way, I was investigating all of them from 1 up to 5, especially after the confession of accused 2. So it was a collective investigation.
Thank you. Now you're saying on the 23rd of June 2020, accused number 2, actually you put it like this, that there was an arrangement for a confession that was facilitated, or an arrangement for a confession that was made with an attorney, that accused number 2 on the 24th should go and appear before a magistrate for a confession. Is that true or correct?
No, I think maybe there might have been a misunderstanding. I'm saying, my lord, on the 23rd, so I was referring to the confession of Mrs. Kronye to say it came as a result of the discussions that took place on the 23rd between accused and his attorney with the state. And then out of those discussions, it gave rise to the confession of the 25th and the discussions that followed. That's what
now, I just want to paraphrase what you've just said now so that I'm able to follow you. You are saying on the 23rd, there was a discussion between accused number 2's attorney and himself with the prosecutors for a confession that was supposed to, or about a confession that had to be taken on the 24th of June 2020, not so?
The discussion is, my lord, because I don't want to say it incorrectly so that we don't find ourselves bumping into Mr. Mnisi.
Yes.
The discussions was insofar, and I'm careful to go there, my lord, because I was told by the prosecution that because those discussions in terms of section of 105A were not finalized, one should not venture into that. So that's why I'm trying to put my weight as amicably and lawfully without being prejudicial to the accused, is that there were discussions that were leading to the 105. And that's how the confession of the 24th of June came into it. So it wasn't simply about the confession. There were discussions. Out of those discussions, certain things then were then put into motion, my lord.
Thank you. Now, on your own version, you're saying that there was an attorney involved. So I take it that was Mjiyako.
Yes.
Now, on the 16th, accused number 2 get arrested by Mahane and Mapela. On the 18th, as per your version, you're meeting him at Carlton, where you had that interview with him. On the 19th, he appears before Rapadi, 19 June 2020, he appears before Rapadi for an alleged confession. On the 23rd of June, there is an attorney. There is Mr. Mchiako. Mr. Mchiako now appears at the scene or in the act. And there are those little arrangements that we have discussed about the possible plea bargaining arrangement and the confession. Now, would you recall that this time was at the time of COVID?
Yes, I do recall. That's correct.
We are sure ukuthi ngey 16 zika June 2020 umsolwa yaboshwa uyena ke umukhana kanye namabhena ngey 18 zika June wena uhlangana naye ke ngey 19 zika June 2020 ungaphambi kodaphathu la eyokwenza ke istatement ekhona ngey 23 zika June 2020 uyasho ukuthi kunomweli umjiyako kunala malungiselelo noma kuyakhulunywa ke lapho ngabe uyakhumbula ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi leso kwakungesikhathi sayo ke iCovid yebo ngiyakhumbula lokho.
Thank you, Madam. There's an indication from my colleague here, Mr. Ramosepele, that apparently accused number one wants to.
No, it's fine, no problem.
Talk to him. Try the number two, not number one.
Mnisi mentions the Kovovo. Okay, I can't say that name on the channel because YouTube has these rules. But yeah, Mnisi says no. Mnisi mentions Kovovo and Bongani Ntanzi raises his hand. I am so curious what he brought up or what just the mention of that one awful time that we lived through has jogged up in Bongani Ntanzi's memory. But I already love where this is going. Look at them gather and look at them corroborate. Yeah, that's a corroboration right there. And Mnisi is taking instructions from Advocate Ramosepele.
As it please the court, Mother, thank you. Now you what agreeing said that this was the time when the pandemic was at its peak, not so. And at that time, visitations, police stations, hospitals and everywhere were very restricted, not so.
That is correct, my lord.
Maybe before I proceed, on the 23rd of June, when there was this attorney, Mr. Mchiako, made an arrangement with the state with regard to the possible plea bargain and subsequent confession. Were you part of the discussions?
No, my lord. No. So I was part in the sense that I'm the one who went to the police station after I received a call.
Yes.
That there was an attorney.
Yes.
Who wants to consult with the accused too. And I gave that permission, my lord, regardless of the pandemic that was in place, because it's constitutional rights to say if someone wants to consult with his legal representative. I think the Constitution, as Advocate Mnisi has said, is a supreme document of this country, so you need to adhere to that. So I allowed that permission. Now, after I got there and I was introduced to this advocate, and I've indicated the sequence of events, my lord, in my evidence in chief, to say, as I walked in, accused who said, this is my attorney, and then we interacted with Mr. Mchiako. After I verified his status, that indeed, where I asked him to identify himself, verify that indeed he was an attorney.
But Brigadier, that's the problem that I have with you. But my question was very simple. Were you part of these discussions or not? Yes or no?
But my lord, I'm putting it in
Remember,
context.
you said the other time that you wanted me to respect you, not so. And I'm trying the best that I can to respect you. But respect is a two-way traffic. If I ask you a simple thing, were you part of the discussions, yes or no? And then you start to give a sermon in circumstances where a sermon has not been requested for you.
My lord,
then you come back and say, I don't respect you. Can you please adhere to the question? Were you part of the discussions or not? No.
There's a good place, my lord. Brigadier Gininda is trying to give an explanation, a comprehensive explanation. It's not
but
just...
my lord, who said wants that explanation? Because this is a simple question. Yes or no?
I've gone too old. How can you guys speak at the same time, all of you? Yes. I mean, when I say it's like in a tavern, then I'm told I've never been in a tavern.
Yes.
You can, in a court of law, if your colleague is on the floor, you don't interrupt him. You can raise your hand to show that you want a follow-up, which you will make. Yes. But once he's still speaking and you also speak, yeah, unless you're in the South African Parliament.
Yes. The witnesses asked that Mr. Mchiako made arrangements with the state on the 23rd of June for a possible plea bargain and confession, and he's asked, were you part of the discussions? Now he's trying to explain a lot as to what the circumstances were. It's not just a simply, yes and no answer. And we submit, my lord, that this witness is entitled to expand on his answer.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi.
I'm shell-shocked, my lord. Really shell-shocked. Because I would expect that Mr. Kininda, with the experience that he has, is a court eagle. He has been to court on a number of occasions. He can bear testimony to that. He knows that I know that. The manner in which he's supposed to respond to questions, my lord. When I ask him, were you part of the discussions, yes or no? Answer is simple, yes, I was part of them. No, I wasn't part of them. If the answer is yes, then I would ask him to explain what transpired there, or how did you get to be part of that meeting? But what is happening here is really shocking, my lord. I really must say it is shocking. But nonetheless, you can explain. You can explain, Mr. Kininda.
So, my lord, let me start on this aspect. I do appreciate when Mr. Mnisi said he's doing his best to respect me, because that's what I've been giving him, and I appreciate that we respect each other. So that, and I will ask that we maintain that standard. You'll get definitely the same treatment from me in terms of respect. Now, giving an explanation, my lord, it's not a sign of disrespect, because in no way do I cast aspersions to him as an advocate or his client. I'm responding and giving explanation based on how I understood the question to be putting. There are instances, my lord, which Advocate Mnisi has put to me, questions where I've answered yes or no. Simple, I've answered them, the record can speak for itself. But when he asks me a question which I see, if I say no, it will give a wrong impression. Even if I say yes, I need to qualify it, my lord. Because, for example, the question that has been put to me, yes, I was not part of the discussion when Advocate Mjako was dealing now with the advocate. But there were times when I was involved, and that's the context I wanted to put to him, to say I was involved up to here. When the time came where he wanted to know who are the advocates involved, and I communicated those details to him, then there was a discussion now between him with the advocates. I was not involved, but one needs to put it into proper context, my lord. Because if I say no, and then later evidence comes up to say, but no, you were present when this part was said, it looks like I'm misleading the court. And if I say yes, as Advocate Mnisi is saying, then you will say, what was discussed? I do not know what he said when he spoke to the advocate. That is why I wanted to put the proper context, my lord. Nothing more. But I'm sorry. But if the question, my lord, simply requires yes or no, I will not be funny or difficult with Advocate Mnisi. I will answer it as such. But if I see that, if I say yes or no, it may give a wrong impression if you don't put a context. I'll just plead with him to be patient with me, my lord, because I'll only give an explanation when I feel it's necessary, nothing more.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier. I'm not even so sure whether you'll be able to answer this question. What do you know? How did Mr. Mjako know about accused number 2's incarceration for him to have gone to him on the 23rd of June 2020 to go into question to him?
No, I don't know, my lord. I wouldn't know. And I didn't inquire about it.
I love this moment so much, and it's the beginning of where we see the shifting of gears. Remember, the defense is holding their cards to their chest. They don't want to reveal yet what ace they have up their sleeves, because, hey, when we started yesterday, nobody knew that Mnisi was going to be representing accused number 2. Hello! Of course, I see it in the comments. People are satisfied about that and the job that Mnisi did. But let's not forget, Advocate Mnisi is the one who got accused number 3 out of solitary confinement. Are we going somewhere with this? They have a game plan. They don't want to reveal it later. They're going to try to ask for an adjournment so they can tighten up, the loose ends. And the judge says, hell no. I see what you're doing. Something is coming, an explosion, a storm, a tornado, and I'm not going to allow it. I am not going to allow it. Keep going. We're not going for lunch now. And Advocate Mnisi continues, and then he tries one more time, and then he tries a second time, and finally they adjourn, because I suspect they did not want to adjourn for these 4 whole days with the state knowing their ace and them returning on Tuesday with an answer for Advocate Mnisi. And this definitely revolves around Mjako, them Gulaga too, that nobody knows how in the hell did he get to be Bongani Ntanzi's representation, doing a whole plea bargain. but never ever sending Bongani Ntanzi to court. Shame on you, Mtiago. But let's continue listening on and listening to this game plan. I loved it. I loved it. Drop a 2 in the comment section if you noticed this too. Let me know if you loved it.
You have admitted that I'm sorry, man. Before I proceed to the question, probably there's a bomb that is coming.
What's your time?
12.
12.
As it please the court, my lord.
Yeah.
I realize, my lord, that it is getting a little bit hotter in the kitchen. For me, for Mr. Ramosepele, and for Mr. Ntanzi. And we don't want to look like we're running around, my lord. But the topic is getting very interesting indeed. May I therefore request, my lord, that owing to the fact that we only left with 20 minutes to go, we then take an adjournment. There is adjournment as per the arrangement. Then we do what we need to do. We do what we
Continue
need to
until 1 o'clock, please. Okay.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, because there are critics here saying every time you want to cough, there is an adjournment. The adjourn, please. So let's go until 1.
So you're saying you would really know how did it happen that Mr. Mtiago should know about accused number 2's incarceration?
No, my lord.
Mzansi Unfiltered, checking out. Catch you on my next upload.
My lord, I mean, that's it. Yeah. As the court pleases, my lord, I mean, that's it. Yeah.
If the grooves don't fit, acquit the 5 accused. Mnisi has done a fantastic job proving there was no match.